Okay, let's get into game 2. Malacof sent me the replays. He didn't actually tell me which game was which, so this might be the first game, but it doesn't matter. I don't know which way around they played them, and it doesn't really matter. So, introducing the players. Here we have Darkseid in the bottom right playing Protoss, Malacof in the top left also playing Protoss. Last time we saw Malacof go for an early cannon rush style. Didn't really achieve what he wanted it to achieve. So let's have a look at what happens this time. See what sort of thing goes on. So yeah, very straight up for Darkseid. So far so good. Very straight up indeed. We've got both players in fact just opening with a kind of pretty standard pylon to build a sort of wall, but Malacof choosing to do that outside the natural, which isn't a bad choice to be honest. You know, Darkseid up here, this is much smaller ramp to wall, but you know, unless you're playing Zerg where you're likely to get a significant number of Zerglings appear pretty early, it doesn't really matter. You've got plenty of time to build a wall and for that wall to be effective against stuff. So the Forge again coming down pretty early for Malacof. I think this time though it's because he wants an early expand. I suspect, you know, looking at the minerals that are piling up here, I think we're going to see expands for both players, reasonably sharpish. Interestingly, did he just build a Zealot then cancel it or something? I'm not really sure. Darkseid building a Zealot however, and surely you've got the money, Darkseid. Let's see the expo. Surely the Nexus coming down for him as well. So both players sort of mirroring quite effectively at this stage. Yes. Oh, so Malacof with the slightly earlier cybernetics core. That's interesting. Has he skipped a pylon? Yeah, he has. So he needs to get another pylon in production pretty sharpish, and he does. This Zealot is out. His opponent also has a Zealot out. So things, you know, look how closely matched up this is at present. Nothing really to choose between these two builds. I don't mind either of them. Nothing seems unusual. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. Chronoing out these Zealots, which arguably is a little unusual, but nothing too strange, unless he's going to go for some sort of weird Zealot push. If you were going for a Zealot push though, you wouldn't have an Expo and all of those types of things. That would just be odd. Quite a late side core coming down for Darkseid, but I don't think it's going to matter. He does like the Zealots, and you know, already with 3 out, which is I'm not sure, just a little unusual, but it's not crazy. So everything looking absolutely normal. Interestingly, probe production just oh, there we go. I was just about to say they're both just building one probe at a time, but they have 2 Nexuses. Yeah, so you know, probe production up 2 probes at a time, so we should see the income start to increase pretty quickly here. And you know, playing StarCraft, you want to get your income up around 2,000 minerals or something like that if you're going to play Protoss, which normally requires 2 fully saturated bases at least. Ideally, you want sort of more like 2,500 as a mineral income, and you should be away. So the probe has a little wander in, dies very quickly. But very usefully as well, because if Malacof is watching, he will know that he died to a handful of Zealots. He will also know his opponent has got this base up and mining. If we look at the vision of Darkseid, hasn't done any scouting whatsoever and knows nothing about his opponent. So the Twilight console here being built. And here, for the first time really, we see a sort of splitting of the 2 build orders. Malacof with the Stargate coming down, while Darkseid is going for Zealot Charge from this Twilight console. So slightly different style beginning to appear. Hang on, Malacof already had a Twilight. I didn't even spot that. I'm really not that good an observer, you know. yeah, ground weapons being researched now for both players, with Darkseid slightly ahead, so he will have a window of a reasonable amount of time. He's going to have a good minute or so during which his units will be +1, but Malakof's won't. But it doesn't look like he's gearing up for any sort of large attack, although there are another 2 gateways coming down, so he could be about to prove me wrong. Maybe he's just about to do a charge zealot all in. Warp gate is literally just about to finish up, so if these all convert to warp gates and we see a big zealot warp in, I think we'll know that actually that is what's about to happen. And could be. He has banked a significant amount of minerals, and I also noticed that probe production has stopped for both players despite the natural bases not being saturated. So in the case of Darkseid, that could be because he is about to march across the map. Some more zealots coming in. Off 2 bases, I'd like more than 4 gateways if that is his plan. +1 finishes, but no sign of armor or shields starting up. So is this going to be a move out? It looks like it could be. Nope, just positioning at the top of the ramp here, and is going to put up the 3rd, but you haven't saturated your 2nd yet, and you've stopped building probes, so I don't know about building a 3rd. Build probes if you want more money. Don't stop at building workers. So when is Malacof going to find out that this is coming? The army supplies are pretty even. Malacof has got a void ray in production and a void ray up, and most of this is zealots, so he should be able to see this off without too many problems. Yeah, the +1 is finished for both players, so actually a lot of these zealots still somehow alive and doing very nicely, thank you. The void ray is going to take a long time to clean these up. So the pair of void rays is actually, he's going to take quite a lot of damage from this, and I don't really know how he's let that happen. I don't really get how these zealots managed to get in here. Why aren't the void rays in the face of these? Also, you need to be rebuilding these pylons that you've lost. You've got too many buildings unpowered, you're supply blocked, so let's get the pylons going. I'm not sure about this. Why are you attacking the gas? These zealots will take a long time to die from the void rays. You could potentially snipe something important. You could snipe the twilight. Sniping 1 gas I just don't think is of much value, but still a reasonable amount of damage done. In the units killed tab, we can see that 11 workers died during that engagement, and that is quite substantial. Let's see. Well, actually hard to tell what it's done because that probe transfer, we'll have to wait for that to kick in so we can see the difference in the mineral incomes. We can see that Darkseid probe production is back up and running. Malakof's income type, his gas, he needs to realize that he's got nothing in gas, just 1 worker mining gas here, so he needs to fix that as soon as possible. Spending money on cannons, and just, I'm not sure about that. Having a couple of cannons in your mineral line to dodge harass is one thing. Having cannons out the front, as defense against a frontal attack, cannons they're not really that powerful. They're good in the very early game, but we've already moved past that. We're up to the 8-minute mark. If there's a frontal attack at this stage, it's likely to be units that scoff at cannons. So I'm not really sure about building cannons. I'd rather see that money spent elsewhere on some sort of tech. So Blink is going to be finishing up before too long for Malacof. There are a couple of void rays here on the map moving out. They seem to have broken off from the rest of the army, and that's a bit of a risky maneuver. You didn't know what was at the top of that ramp. You just parked your void rays there. You could have walked straight into a large number of stalkers or something like that. But Malacof does have an army supply advantage. He does have a significant income deficit, and he must be aware of that. He will know that he lost workers. What he may not know is that actually at this time he has the bigger army. But can he do anything with it? Let's have a look. I wouldn't fancy taking that on. What, really? So the army supplies are now even. So surely this isn't all of Malakof's stuff. He's got too much stuff waiting at home to really press an attack there. There was, given the 2 void rays, arguably did have air superiority for a while. There was certainly potential to to cause some sort of diversion with zealots over here and send void rays in round here or into the back here to try and get some damage done. But going home for the time being, army supplies still. Just as I said, Darkseid obviously with a big warp-in round there goes ahead in army supply, and with the worker supply as it is, Malacof only. It hasn't really been building workers as furiously as he might have done, given that he lost a lot of workers. The first thing you need to get done if that happens to you is you've got to rebuild those workers. You've got to get your income back up to scratch. And I don't think he really did that. We can see here there's only one probe in production. He needs to be building these workers 2 at a time. He needs to get this gas up and mining again. All of those things need to happen. So, +1 air weapons being researched. I can also see resonating glyphs, but I don't know about that. Resonating glyphs, adepts are fantastic units and they do huge amounts of damage versus light, but you're not really, I suppose, arguably, Darkseid is pretty zealot heavy. But with the stalkers that you saw in there as well, I'm not sure in the value of these adepts. They are fantastic harass units. In a stand-up fight against zealots, okay. Against zealots and stalkers, I'm not sure that these adepts are going to get a huge amount of value. But we'll see. We'll see how good his shading is, because you can do some clever stuff. Okay, here we go. The army supply significantly in favor of Darkseid. He hasn't even bothered to wait for +3 weapons to finish. He is just going to go for it. Has he got enough? It looks like the answer to that is yes, he does. The void rays are kind of forming some sort of defense, but this enormous concave with the stalkers means that the army supply of Malacof absolutely plummets, and Darkseid has done it again. He's built an army and marched across the map with just a significantly larger force. So, previous rounds we've seen Darkseid throw out a couple of cheeses. This round he is showing us that he definitely knows how to play a macro game. He definitely knows how to make an army. He knows how to get his income up, and he knows how to hold a bit of harass. He knows what he is about, and he means business. So Malacof, didn't do a bad job, honestly, but just got out macroed, and these guys turned up and gave him a beating. What can I say? GG.